From his booth, the announcer gazed down into the darkened arena. The crowd jostled and jeered around the cage in which a lone woman lay on her side in a drug-induced sleep. Slowly, she opened her eyes. As she looked around, fear bloomed in her face. Grinning, the announcer gripped his mic and crooned into it.
Welcome to Fight Night, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to the main event, please remember that flash photography is not allowed in the arena. Anyone caught filming the fight will have their phone confiscated and their entrails removed through their nostrils. And don't forget to purchase a refreshing beverage from the concession stand. And now it's time to welcome all you monster fanatics to another rousing evening of bloodshed and mayhem. In all the nights I've had the privilege of being ringside commentator, I've never been more excited for a fight. Tonight's gonna be a good one, folks. Fair warning to the first few rows of you, you will get wet. In the left corner, huddled in fear, I present for your perverse pleasure the pile of human filth you see before you, Mary.
The crowd booed loudly. Mary got up to her feet just in time to dodge a half-empty can of beer. It clattered at her feet and rolled off into the darkened side of the stage.
Please!
Mary begged the faces pressing in around her.
You've got to get me out of here before dark. I'm not safe.
Up above, the announcer laughed into the mic and said,
Mary let her high school friend die during the school play, if you can believe it. She watched backstage as her fellow student hung herself, and Mary did nothing to save her.
The announcer grinned as he saw a look of guilt flash across Mary's face.
It wasn't my fault.
She screamed up at him, but the crowd just cheered louder. Something moved in the shadows at the other end of the cage. Something big. Its footsteps shook the ground. The announcer's fingers waggled over the light switches on the booth's control panel. The crowd was seething with energy. He could only let them dangle in sweet suspense for a moment longer.
On to our main attraction,
he said.
In the far corner, our reigning champion of carnage, the yellow-eyed Cyclops, the punisher of the wicked, weighing in at 500 pounds of pure murderous metal. The ground literally shakes beneath his feet. You know his name, folks. Let me hear it.
Together in one booming voice, the crowd yelled the name. Colossus. The announcer flipped the switch, flooding the stadium with light. When Mary saw the thing across from her, she let out a blood-curdling scream. It glared with its one hateful yellow eye. Light glinted off both its horn and the polished teeth of its chainsaw arm. There was a strange collar wrapped around its neck. Rather than attack, Colossus turned and began shaking the cage.
Come on, big guy. Will you never learn?
The announcer chuckled, holding up a remote control.
Let's give him a little shock incentive, shall we?
He pressed the button and purple electricity crackled around the creature's collar. Turning toward Mary, Colossus prepared to charge. The chainsaw gave a horrible metal whine.
Let me out!
Mary screamed, but the crowd only laughed. Then something else cut through the noise. The wet, slicing sounds of a blade cutting through flesh. Screams, not of joy, but of pain, rose up from the crowd. With a spray of blood, a man on the other side of the cage was cut in half, and behind him stood another monster. She was gripping her bloody field hockey stick and smiling savagely beneath her crop of orange hair. Mary turned and saw the ghoulish face of the new monster standing before her. Through numb lips, she muttered her name.
Shelley!
Up in the commentator's booth, the announcer spat angrily into the microphone.
This is highly irregular. That's a violation. Colossus, cut that orange-haired brat down. Now!
With a screech of tearing metal, Shelley peeled back a section of the cage like it was made of cardboard and stepped into the ring. The announcer pressed the remote again and zapped Colossus. With a huge howl of rage, he jabbed his chainsaw at Shelley. Moving quickly, she blocked it with her stick. Sparks flew in a dazzling spray as the chainsaw's teeth grated against Shelley's hockey stick. Pushing the saw aside, Shelley launched herself at Colossus. stabbing him between his metal chest plate, digging into the leathery skin beneath. Black blood splattered on the mat. Roaring with pain, Colossus curled his only hand into a fist and slammed it into Shelley's chin. The blow sent her flying back into the cage. She crumpled to the ground. As Colossus stomped over toward Shelley, Mary picked herself up and ran toward the hole and tumbled out. When she got up, a man and woman, faces lined with the slashed pink of flesh scar tissue, stood above her. The man held another one of the electric collars, like the one around Colossus' neck. They stepped past her and into the cage where Colossus was stomping over to the slumped body of Shelley, wrapping its meaty hand around her neck. He lifted her up into the air, his yellow eyes shimmering like a hellish star. He raised his saw, aiming to split Shelley's skull, but in a move almost too quick to see, Shelley brought her hockey stick up in a whirling arc. There was another spray of obsidian ichor and an agonized howl from Colossus. Shelley landed lithely on her feet. Colossus' severed arm landed next to her. The fingers twitched convulsively for a few seconds and then it lay still. Colossus fell to his knees, his eye flickering on and off. Shelley gave an evil smile, her braces glinting in the spotlight. She leapt onto Colossus' chest, raising her hockey stick. She pointed the bloody edge towards his neck in a decapitating move. The announcer sputtered furiously into the mic.
That's property of Fight Night! Get a collar on her!
Running across the mat, the man and woman snapped a collar around Shelley's neck. With a growl of anger, she whirled on her, trying to yank the collar free, but she couldn't. Shelley got up to her feet, shaking with rage, and advanced towards the two lackeys. Grinning savagely, the announcer said,
Not so fast! You belong to Fight Night now!
With another press of the remote, purple electricity rammed through Shelley's body. She screamed and collapsed next to Colossus. Above it all, the announcer smiled. Then his eyes narrowing, he scanned the arena.
Where the hell is our human contestant? Where the hell is Mary?
He spat. Mary was gone. For a moment, the announcer frowned. Then a sinister smile spread across his face.
Very clever, Mary. Seems you've brought yourself a reprieve.
He laughed.
But it won't be long. Fight Night always takes the time to plant a tracker on our human tributes, just in case a situation such as this arises. It's only a matter of time before our dear friend Mary is back in the ring.
As Shelley and Colossus were dragged off the mat, the announcer turned off his mic, and then the lights faded until there was only darkness.
Subscribe for new scary videos and comment with your theories on the Crypt Monster universe. Remember, it's all connected.